Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Thursday, April 6th, 2023. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Super tasty. It is Thursday. We've got a new episode of Martial Arts Radio to talk about. We've got other stuff to talk about that Frank sent over. We'll see what's going on in your world. I'll tell you about my Wednesday. I'll tell you about my today. And we'll see where that takes us. First off, who's here? I want to say good morning to Mark, Frank, Stacy, and Rebecca, and Dennis, and all the rest of you out there. Because there are always some of you who don't chime in the chat. Who are you? I don't know. Is it someone I know? Is it someone stalking me, sort of? I guess that's not really stalking. Lurking. There. That's a better word. Is it someone lurking in the chat, watching my every move? Probably not, but it's fun to think about. I appreciate you all being here, whether you are, in fact, in the chat, or maybe you are watching or even listening later on. I just am thankful that you're here. Appreciate it. It's already been a good day. I already think I solved a problem that myself, and more so one of the members of the team, we've been kind of working on or trying to find a solution for 6 months, maybe more. And I'm excited about this solution. I think it's something different and unique. Those are redundant. And we'll see where the idea takes us. When did I have this wonderful idea? In the shower. Do you have great ideas in the shower? My best ideas come when I'm in the shower or when I'm driving. Sometimes if I'm going for a walk. Never when I'm working. Never when I sit at my desk and I go, ideas, right? One of my growing philosophies is that we need space in our lives. We need empty space because things will fill it, right? Nature, you've probably heard me say this. It's not my statement, but nature abhors a vacuum, right? Empty space gets filled. But my instinct over most of my life has been to fill that intentionally. And I'm starting to find that the unintentional fill, the create openness and allow, tends to have a lot of great stuff come with it. Like this idea. Good morning also to Brian and Nick and Jenny. And Rebecca says, love your t-shirt. Thank you. This is the Shut Up and Train shirt, which I don't believe is available on the website right now. By the way, if you're not checking the website and grabbing the shirts you like when they're available, then you get yourself into a position where you don't have the cool shirt. And this is a whole bunch of excuses about training. I'm tired. I'm sick. It's snowing. My uniform is dirty. And then on the back it says, shut up and train. Because there's always an excuse, but there's always a way to train around it. Maybe not through it. I broke my leg. Well, you probably shouldn't be working on kicks. You could practice techniques while you sit. You could practice balance on your good leg. You could review video of things you've done and find ways for improvement. You could read that book that your instructor told you to read 3 years ago, right? There are a lot of options. So my Wednesday was pretty solid. Andrew and I had a great meeting about All In Weekend. We are on track. I'm excited. A number of you are attending. And let me just say, you're going to have a great time. We started working on, we started working on what we're going to teach months ago. I told Andrew, I said, here are the things that I kind of want to put in the pot. and he started thinking about what he wanted, and we kind of stirred the pot a little bit yesterday, and some good stuff's coming out. It's going to be, well, if you attended last year, you know it's not quite like any other event. How many people do I see in the chat that are going? 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 of you are attending. Jenny says, I'm starting to get the urge to pack my stuff for All In Weekend, LOL. You're welcome to. But you'll probably need some of it between now and then because it's a few weeks out. No, computer, I don't want to link my A1 to you. No, I said no. Don't do things. What else did I do yesterday? Had a chiropractic appointment, went well, and spent some time working at my new office. And I have to say, it's working out well. The lack of distraction, just the energy is different. And it means that the energy is different when I come home. And I really like that. So there's a pretty good chance that as soon as I'm done here, you know, I have to build this into my life. There's a new routine brewing here. Once I take this part of my life, the show, once I take first cup and I finish it, what do I do next? Well, I got to get ready for my day. There's some urgency there because historically I've been starting work at 9. What am I doing those 2 hours? Well, I'm kind of, as my mother would say, farting around. No, we're moving that up to 8. So now I've got an hour to get things done. Clean up the house, grab some food, pack whatever bags I need for the day, and I go. Good morning, Andy. And I think that this is going to continue to be a really good thing for me. I don't even have an extra keyboard or mouse over there yet. I haven't brought any of the extra stuff that I can see the list from here. I haven't brought any of it. Maybe I'll grab some of that today. But there's just something really nice about being in this fairly small space with nothing but a desk, a chair, and a lamp, and getting work done. I think it's what I needed. I'm fairly certain it's what I needed, but we'll give it some time. We'll see if this flow continues. I am hopeful. Now, how about you? What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? What wins are you celebrating from yesterday? What are you excited about for today? What are you looking forward to? Today's not quite a full day. I'll probably be off 2 or 3 o'clock, in part because it's going to be beautiful weather. We're going to be 60 degrees today. And not this weekend, but next weekend, mid-70s. Oh, I might be taking the doors off the Jeep and driving around. 70 degrees when I've still got snow in the backyard. 70 degrees is going to feel hot. Jenny asked, why is there a chair? Why is there a chair in my office? My office came with a chair. It's a terrible chair. It's comfortable, but it's all old and banged up. I don't care. It doesn't need to be a nice chair. It just needs to exist. I do still need to buy a new chair for here. What else am I going to tell you? Well, I'm going to tell you that there's a new episode of Martial Arts Radio, and I'm going to check what it is because I don't remember. And heads up, I think every episode we do is in video now. So if you're not checking the video versions on YouTube, you're missing out. Oh, that's what it is. It's a new word association episode. Our 5th ever word association episode. Some of you really enjoy these. I'm sure some of you skip over them because you probably think that they're goofy. Well, they are goofy. But you probably think that they're goofy in a way that you're not going to get any value from them. That probably means one of two things. You haven't watched or listened to one of them, or you've forgotten who I am. Because I have a hard time not being deeply philosophical about a subject. So when Andrew throws a random word at me and says related to martial arts, you better believe that there's some stuff in there for you to consider. Jenny says, the word associations are fun. Stacy says, it does need to be a chair that doesn't foobar your back. Yeah, that's the irony, is that the junk-free chair is better than the chair I have here. And Nick says, I get some one-on-one time with a really smart dude at one. But with the word associations, if you have a word you want to contribute, get it to Andrew. If you don't know how to get to Andrew, get to me. Don't send me the word, but get to me, and then I will connect you with Andrew. Andrew at whistlekickmartialartsradio.com. What else can I tell you? What else is there to share? I found what will probably be my perpetual food choice while I'm at this office, because I don't have a way for heating. I mean, there's toaster ovens and whatever, but I don't want to screw with that while I'm there. I want quick meals. So what I did on Monday when I was there, I went over to the grocery store, got a pound of deli meat, buffalo chicken, and a sleeve of rice cakes. And that's it. There is a small fridge. Meat goes in the fridge. Rice cakes go on my desk. And now we've got sort of sandwiches. Done. Easy. Why rice cakes? Because my body prefers rice to wheat. All right, we're switching gears. I still want to hear from all of you. Drop some fun stuff in the chat. I'll put it up on the screen. We'll talk about it. You know, good stuff you need support on, whatever it is. But until then, or I should suppose, while we're doing that, I'm going to switch gears. Frank sent over stuff because Frank is the best. And make sure we always have something to talk about. Thank you, Frank. Excuse me. Thank you to Josh for our theme song and to Denise for the audio. And we've got 3 quotes, looks like, about jealousy today. To jealousy, nothing is more frightful than laughter. Francois Sagan. To jealousy, nothing is more frightful than laughter. Do you get jealous of people? I do sometimes. Not so much, and maybe it's not even jealousy. And we could talk about the differences between jealousy and envy. I think most of us use those interchangeably, though they're not quite the same. But when I see someone who has done something that I want to do, it means I can do it. I actually don't like doing things people that have done. Like most of my careers has been, oh, who's doing that? Really, nobody? Okay, cool. Let me figure it out. I like figuring things out. To me, life is a puzzle, and I want to invest my brain in trying to understand and accomplish these things. If I worked a traditional office job where I went in, even if I was compensated well, I think I'd go nuts. I actually, at times, really struggle with doing things over and over again, right? Like not from a discipline standpoint, but I already figured that out. I don't want to do it again. I want to go figure something else. Let somebody else do this. So what do you do when you find yourself jealous of someone? This quote is suggesting you laugh. What do you do when someone is jealous of you? This quote might suggest laugh. That may or may not be the right response. There are different kinds of jealousy, right? Like we can be jealous in a way that's kind of quiet and reserved. And yeah, I wish I had what that person has. And you can take it as motivation. I want that. I'm going to work for that. How did they get there? I'm going to follow in their footsteps. It's not a bad strategy. In fact, in business, it's well documented that being the first in an industry is not usually, or at the very least, not a guarantee of success. That quite often it's the second business that comes through that does the great stuff. Oh, we got some stuff coming in here. Kelly says, last night I mentioned that Easter is this weekend, as I always ask students if they're doing something special. One first grader smacks himself in the forehead and says, oh, we have to pick up dog turds. Apparently they're having company. Rebecca says, yesterday I did a front roll. Granted, it was only a couple, but about a month ago, I physically couldn't do it all. That's amazing. Great job. With regard to the jealousy, Nick says, I start to ask myself questions. Why am I jealous? Can I do anything to get what that person has? And do I really want it? Jenny says, for me, it might be jealousy, but it's mostly self-doubt. I don't believe I can be as great as another person. Well, I know that's not true. And I bet everybody else here knows that's not true. The only thing holding us back is our self-beliefs, our own beliefs about ourselves, our self-talk. Truly, it's that simple. Not easy, but it is that simple. And I will challenge anyone who disagrees. You're welcome to challenge me, and I'll show you that you're wrong. It's all about how you view yourself. Good morning, Nathan. Kelly says it well. Jenny, you don't have to be as great as someone else because you are great. And she acknowledges, I'm working on that. I can't honestly say I know it's not true, but I don't want it to be true. It's only true if you allow it to be true. All right, our next quote about jealousy. To cure jealousy is to see it for what it is, a dissatisfaction with self. John Didion. A dissatisfaction with self. If you are, let's see, let's come up with a metaphor here. Or I guess an example. That's a better word for this. If you have a healthy relationship with your children or your parents or a great group of friends, when you see somebody else who has a great relationship with their children or their parents or a wonderful group of friends, do you imagine that person gets jealous? No. Who gets jealous of the people with a great relationship with their children? People without children who really want children, or people who don't have great relationships with their children? Who gets jealous of the people with great relationships with their parents? People who don't have great relationships with their parents, or their parents are gone. How about the group of friends? People who have maybe lower quality friends or few friends, right? So if we can think of it in that way, then it becomes really clear. We become jealous when we don't have what is important to us. Don't let other people dictate what's important to you. Would I like to have a big garage full of nice cars? Yeah, that would be fun. Is that a priority for me? No. When I imagine my big, huge dream home and all the fun cars that I want, it's actually a rather small list. It's like 5 cars, and most of them are practical. It's not, oh, I want the Lamborghini SUV. I want a Toyota Land Cruiser. Right? Like, my dreams are much simpler and much more practical than plenty of people. If somebody gave me a Lamborghini SUV, cool. But if somebody has one, am I going to be jealous of it? Probably not. I mean, plenty of people have them. I'm not jealous of it. There are a few things that I'm jealous of. I know there are people that are jealous of me. Probably because I work hard and I have a purpose. And I'm making an impact. So what can we say about those people? They probably don't feel like they're making a contribution to the world. I see people who make more money than me. Plenty of people do. Does that make me jealous? No. I'm jealous of people who have less debt than I do because, well, I would like to not have the debt that I have, but I'm paying it off. So that's great. We're jealous of the things that we don't have and that we believe we won't get. If you're using the jealousy as fuel to get it, to change your life, to go for it, I don't know that it's jealousy. To me, it's motivation. Frank says, social media can be a real trigger for jealousy for others. Absolutely. Social media tells us that if you don't have all of these things, you're lazy and unsuccessful and worthless. When, let's face it, you don't have to look very hard to identify that most of the people, not all, most of the people are falsely presenting their lives on social media. The car that they say they bought, they rented. The private plane they're on was a set that they rented for an hour to take photos. For a lot of the imagery of men surrounded by beautiful women, those are paid models. And even if they're not, they're probably still paid models in some way. Right? Then it says, when you can take the skills that you have and can help others to achieve them, that is how you define greatness. I would agree. Kelly says, jealousy in the martial arts can be so ugly. When I was younger and competing, the other women in the school would say the reason I would win was because I was sleeping with the judges. All of them. Wow, that's a lot of work for a trophy. Apparently, it had nothing to do with the fact I was training 4 days a week. The good thing was the rumors wouldn't go far because people who really knew me or truly, quote, mattered knew the truth. Dennis says, I would like a big garage full of puppies and kittens. That'd be pretty great. And this is interesting. Jenny says, in response to Dennis's comment about greatness, helping others, says, if I'm reading this correctly, that means greatness is not something we can achieve on our own. We can't do anything on our own. It requires other people being involved, maybe not in massive ways. If you want to be great at something you don't know how to do yet, yeah, you're going to need other people. If you want to be great at something you do know how to do, it's a moot point. It's already happened. You already have what you need. Don't dwell on what you don't have, where you're not at. Focus on where you are. Be grateful. Embody that. Doesn't mean you don't dream. Doesn't mean you don't work hard to get where you want to go. But it does mean that spending even a moment being upset about what you don't have is a waste. And what's our last quote today here? Love looks through a telescope. Envy through a microscope. Oh, Josh Billings. Love looks through a telescope. Envy through a microscope. It's a powerful sentiment. I'm processing. I like these. This is one of the reasons I like this format of the show. So what do we do? Here's a situation, because this is one that comes up a lot. What do we do when two students start at roughly the same time? Maybe they go up through early ranks together, but slowly one of them becomes a more dedicated student. They're training harder than the other. And when it comes time to think about testing them, they're ready. The other one is not. Now, we know from the personalities that if we promote one and not the other, the one not promoted will become jealous. Maybe even outwardly jealous. Maybe they will quit. There are a lot of ways to handle this. Here are the two most common ones. You promote both of them because you don't want to lose a student. You're rewarding the poor behavior. Don't do that. You promote one and not the other. Makes the one who's not training hard sad. Might even make both of them sad. Could create problems. I've seen this multiple times. I've been here just as long and I'm training just as hard. They're wrong, but they think they have been. And I deserve. How about this third choice? And I'm open to other ideas. You go to the person that is not going to get promoted. And you say, hey, we need to have a chat. This is about to happen. I want you to know preemptively why I'm not testing you or promoting you, however it's done. You used to work this hard. You're now several belts ahead. Guess what? You still work this hard. You need to work this hard. Maybe you go to them a few months before testing when there's time for them to correct it and say, I want you to know that based on when we're having our next testing cycle, if you continue at the level of effort you're at now, you will not be tested. So wait, give them the opportunity. Hey, now you know, because people don't always know. Remember, we're the heroes in our own story, so we don't always realize that we're falling short unless people tell us. It's about holding boundaries, whether we're talking about jealousy or friendship or being a martial arts instructor. Boundaries are critical. Boundaries are critical literally in our self-defense. They're critical in the way we show up for ourselves. They're critical in the way we interact with other people. Young kids crave boundaries. It's how they see themselves in the world. They need that definition of this versus that to understand anything. Guess what? That never goes away. A lot of us assume that those boundaries become clear as people age. My boundaries are very clear to other people. Well, no, they're probably not. How about this one? You ever heard this? I shouldn't have to tell you. You should just know. No. If you're not drawing a boundary for someone and they're not respecting the boundary, guess what? You're just as, if not more, responsible for the outcome. It's ridiculous. If you want someone to respect your boundaries, you need to make sure they fully understand them. If you draw it for them and you believe they're a good person and they don't hold to it, maybe you did a poor job of drawing the boundary. Or maybe you drew and held them to it, but then you let off and they violated it and now they're not quite sure. Little kids do this all the time, right? Consistency. And I think boundaries can help with feelings of jealousy. Boundaries that you draw for yourself, boundaries that others draw for you. When we know what is expected and we know what is possible, and we have a healthy understanding of how our efforts translate into our results, jealousy is not really a common thing. Where does jealousy tend to come from? People who feel like victims. They feel helpless. They believe that their circumstances are permanent, that their ability to have the thing that they want can never happen. That's where they become jealous. And that's where a lot of critical statements about, well, you shouldn't have that, interpret as you will, are rooted. Do not care if someone has more than me or different than me. I don't really care if they have less than me either. If I'm in a position to help someone, whether they have more or less, I will help them. Just because someone has more than me doesn't mean I'm not going to help them. That's silly. I have a client who, I'm not going to say what service they provide, but in a number of our early calls, this is not a martial arts school, in a number of our early calls would justify their rates by saying, oh, these people have plenty of money. Why does your rate have anything to do with what they make? It should have nothing to do with what they make. And it became clear over time that this person, we've worked through this a bit, comes from a position where they didn't have much. they're between them and their husband, they're doing well now. They're successful, but they haven't quite shed that, let's call it a poverty mindset. As they get better, as she gets better, I'm hearing that less and less. As she does more, she recognizes it's not about anybody else. It's about her. It's about how she shows up. My rates are the same, whether I'm working with a very successful business or an unsuccessful business. The cost of our sparring gear on the website doesn't change. It's not a sliding scale. We don't ask you for your taxes last year. If you want to pay it, you pay it. Whether you're a billionaire or you're on food stamps, doesn't matter to me. We can control ourselves, and that's about it. So the next time you find yourself investing energy in what other people have, and you don't find it motivating, it makes you sad, stop. Focus on what you have. Take stock of the things that you've done, the places you're at, the places you've been, that some time ago would have been dreams, things you would have been jealous of other people doing. I'm sure there are some, probably quite a few. Be grateful. And then recognize, hey, I did that. I bet I can do this other thing, or that other thing, or this other thing. Because you can. It might take a ton of work, but you can do it. There are very few things that are impossible. And frankly, very few of us want something that's impossible. If it's something you want, it's probably not impossible. Jeremy, I can't fly. Well, you can get your pilot's license or helicopter license, or you could learn how to wingsuit or paraglide, hang glide, kite surf. Those are all kind of flying. No, but I want to jump off the roof and flap my arms and fly like a bird. No, you're not going to be able to do that. Is that really what keeps you up at night? That desire? No. So don't be silly. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go work on the things that I really want. And I hope you do too. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's our Friday show. The jokes are already loaded in. I see them. I haven't read them, but I saw that they were there. Thank you, Frank. And don't forget to check out today's episode of Martial Arts Radio with the Word Association. I hope you have fun checking those out, and hopefully it gives you something to think about. Take care, everybody. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.